All right, we got the back completely cleared, all that moving and shuffling just so I could get access to the ground underneath it. So right now we've got this piece of concrete that was actually moved here when we were rebuilding the building. It was sitting somewhere else on the property. And I might end up cutting off that curb and doing it at that level, but over here, there's this concrete pad that is literally just sitting over here in the middle of nowhere doing nothing. And it's, I don't know, 16 by 8 or so. And probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches thick. And it's doing no good there, and nobody's had anything big enough to move it yet. And so I think we'll be able to move it with the wheel loader. But what I'm going to start with is getting this ground, all the dirt dug out to the level that I need it to be able to set the pad in right there. That's the plan. And then once it's set there, it gives me a nice concrete area right outside the shop to be able to use for whatever. So let's get right into that.
Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason, though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison that ride. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can spot all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. So flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, really gonna rise to the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
All right, well, what we just did was turn down the idle speed on the diesel. And you do that by loosening this little lock nut here and then twisting this bolt in or out for adjustment. When you bring it out, that brings the speed down. When you bring it in, it brings the idle speed up. And so I've been wanting to do that for a while, just haven't gotten around to it yet, because this machine's transmission is really sensitive to the speed at which the engine is running, because the torque converter needs to slow down enough for it not to be like slamming into gear. And so when you're going from neutral to forward or neutral to reverse, it basically, you don't want the idle speed going too much, having that additional pressure and that preload that would be on the transmission from an engine that's spinning too fast. So, and this machine, being the first generation of these 645s, has a different transmission than the ones that the Fiat Allis have. The Fiat Allis have one that it's a little bit more forgiving in regards to its ability to handle that. I don't know a lot about it, but that's what I've read. So turning that idle speed down should help us in the forward and neutral reverse. I do think, well, I know we've got some injectors leaking, and you can see there's wet spots kind of around each of them. Well, not each of them, actually. Yeah, each of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I may end up pulling those and having those sent off to get pop tested and rebuilt. The other thing is the injection pump. Yeah, it's running pretty well, but I'm kind of debating on potentially sending it off as well. Major reason is what I did was completely just cleaning it. It wasn't a rebuild, and I didn't have the kit at the time. I wanted to get the machine running and operating, and now I want it to be as good as it can get. And I am no expert when it comes to injection pumps, so I may have the professionals do it now that I know this is a machine that is absolutely worth spending the time and effort to get that done. So yeah, for now though, we turn down the idle, put some water in it, we're gonna use it. And the big reason I want to use it is got these concrete pads, this one here, and I cleaned out around that one over there. And so that one, the plan was to bring it over and set it right next to this one over here on the side. Well, I was gonna try and cut off this like curb, and come to find out there's a whole nother section on the back end of it that is connected at a lower level. And so what I think I'm gonna do, we're gonna take this pad, we're gonna completely turn it around so the curb is over here, and then we're gonna bring over that concrete pad and we're gonna stick it right here so that the majority of that and this pad are all at the same level over here, rather than having this curb in the way, because I foresee myself bringing stuff out here and I don't really want to have to drag it, heavy stuff up over a curb. So we'll put that up on the higher side and just leave it attached. So that's why we cleared out this area, kind of dug out around it, and the wheel loader ought to be able to just whip this thing out, no big deal. All right, before we go any further, the injection pump has a leak. The back banjo bolt, way back on the back side, is leaking right at the line, which is this line here. So I'm gonna get a wrench. I tried tightening it a while back. We're gonna pull it out and see if it's maybe missing the washer. If it's missing the washer, I think I've got some copper crush washers that might work. But let me grab a wrench and we'll get this pulled out. Yeah. Here we go. It's always the hardest one that needs work, because this one is literally the hardest to tighten as it goes. Let's see here. Well, it's got both washers. One on the inside like that, and then one goes on the outside like that. Huh. Go see if I can find a copper one that's the same size and we'll try it. Alright, so this is the banjo bolt. And it has these two, they're not copper, they're metal, steel rings. One goes on the inside and one goes on the outside, basically clamping down on that fuel line that goes to the injector. I've got these two kits of copper washers. Let's see. Oh, it's too small. That one fits. Looks like the inside diameter is about what we need. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put the steel ring on, and then on the insides we'll put the copper ring, and then put the steel rings on the outsides. We'll see if that'll seal up our leak. This is the most tricky of all the lines to do. I'll just bring you back when I'm done. All right, I got that line back in. Fuel leaking. Or it's the valve cover itself leaking oil, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's fuel coming out of the base of each of these injectors. So maybe the cups are going bad. I don't know. I really need to pull those at some point. Right now, I just want to get that active leak out of the injection pump done. Let's start it up and see if it's a dripper still. All right, well, we got it moved. It is not level. It needs to come up in the back. Front needs to go down a little bit. And I want it to pitch that way, just like this one does, so that any rainwater will run that way and that way. And so, but I tried my best. I had it all leveled, had it all laid out. But when you push something heavy and big like this, typically it digs in to the ground, and I was not able to lift this completely. It was just too much mass to even try and sling it and lift it like I lifted this one. This one I was literally able to just set here, which allowed me to get it more level. This one I had to just shove. So the big plan will be to probably get under here, the forks, lift it up, and then, you know, use some material to bring the grade up at the back. Take a little bit out of the front, and we should be good to go. But it did not break. I was kind of worried because there were a few cracks. I think they were more toward this corner. I don't know how superficial they were, but they kind of had me, So whatever this concrete is, it's very, very strong. And man, this is going to be so much nicer having another concrete pad right out back. And it'll be the same level. So this one has like this 45-degree angle. My plan is to get this as close as I can and then fill that gap with concrete. But for tonight, I am drenched in sweat, I'm tired, and I'm hungry. So I'm gonna go home and see my wife and my kids. So starting right here, there's another natural spring. And so this whole corner was always really spongy, really wet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a pipe in and we're gonna run it from that spring straight out to the bank, and that bank feeds right into the creek. Alright, so one way you can tell it's a true spring is because the water is clear after it sits for a while. You stir it up and it gets muddy, but that water is coming straight out of the ground. So we're going to leave it like this, kind of build a little chamber for it. We're going to cover it with this other big stone I found. All that good enough. And we'll bury it. All right, next up, what I want to do is I want to move this big pile of dirt that we dug out from over there where we filled in the sinkhole. I want to move that pile of dirt, and I basically want to build a big berm right there and raise it so that there's a little bit of a viewing barrier between that parking lot and this lot. And then we got to do a little drainage work right here. And that rock will go there, and then we'll get rid of the burn pile that's here. We'll move that around. So I'm gonna jump in the wheel loader forklift, get a few of these pallets out of the way, And then we'll get in the wheel loader and we'll start moving dirt.
Right in here, I need to make sure that the water that comes right down in this area can drain through the berm that we're building. So I've got these pipes here, and I'll show you what we're going to do. All right, so right here is a low spot, and we kind of want the water to run away from the building and on the back pad this way. And so there's going to kind of be a slight drainage ditch here that I'm going to create, and it will basically be rock around this pipe, and this pipe is perforated, meaning it's got holes right here on the bottom. And the biggest thing people do wrong when they install this pipe is they put the holes up. But really the holes go down and it allows the water to seep up into the pipe and then go. That green pipe is not perforated, and so there are no holes in it, and it is basically what we're going to use to get through the berm. So I'm going to pull that a little bit more this way, and then we're going to actually extend this further with another pipe there. But for right now, all I really want to do is backfill over it. So let's pull it out, get it set up, we'll start getting some dirt on it. We'll go with that. We'll add these other pipes later.
Found a little toad. He's an active one. I like toads. They eat all the bad bugs. Oh! Alright, get to getting. You go find something to eat. There's our pipe. That'll do for now. All right, well, that berm is not finished by any means because I want to bring the gravel level up to the height of these two concrete pads, which means I got to take the dirt down. At least we got most of the dirt. I still got some here. I'm probably going to dig that corner out a little bit more. The other big reason that we did that was to get all that dirt out of the way. So now I can start using this area for other things, and all that rock there is going to go down here in this trench, and then this will end up becoming one level, and then all the water will drain straight through the rock into the drain and out into the creek. So yeah, for right this minute, I'm good with that. So it's raining a little bit, and you can see we got a stream going right down here, and I need to move the trench over here, but the water is headed right where I want it. Right into that pipe and down into the creek.